Lightman Garden here, coming to you at the very end of July to talk about actually a pest issue that you can come across with ripening fig fruit. So the pests we're going to talk about today are called sap beetles or dried fruit beetles. And they don't infect your tree, but they can infect your fruit. What you're seeing in front is pretty disgusting. It is a rotting fig that has been attacked by a sap beetle or a dried fruit beetle. They're a very tiny type of beetle. You can see there. Right, they're really small. You know, there's my hand for comparison value. These beetles essentially penetrate the skin of the fig, whether it go through the eye or just through the skin itself, and it's going to sour the fruit. It's going to inject bacteria into it and make it inedible. So this is an example of a piece of fruit that got infiltrated. So at this point it looks pretty good, but it doesn't smell good. It's been soured. So as that sap beetle gets in, it's going to actually start depositing larvae or eggs in there and hatch that into the fruit. Obviously it feeds on it and also deposits some bacteria in there. So definitely not a good thing to have, because if there's one, there's going to be more. So first line of defense, organza bags. This is a large one. You can get a branch in here, because what that'll do is prevent basically the birds from going in and opening the fruit like this. Second thing is, if your fruit does get damaged, definitely bag that up and discard it in the trash. Do not compost it on the ground. So that's one thing I learned this year. I often in the past would let the fruit hit the ground, just with the idea of, you know, that's going to feed the tree, feed the soil, feed the insect life. Well, it also feeds the bad guys. Do not want that to sit, because then they're going to start breeding in the ground here, and they can survive years as they reproduce. Much more because they have food essentially in the ground to feed off of. What I have found useful is to get one of these diatomaceous earth dusters. You can get these on Amazon, probably lots of different places. It's a rubber container, the screw off top, and you can see a nozzle. You just put your diatomaceous earth inside and then just essentially squeeze it, and it puts a fine dust out on here. And if you don't know about diatomaceous earth, it's a really good one as a natural organic insecticide. What it does is it actually has a sharpness to it with bugs, and it will split the bottom of their bodies open as they crawl against it. So this stuff has to be dry to be effective. So if it rains and everything's all soggy and wet, do not use this. It's not going to do a thing. It needs to be dry, and you might have to do a few applications, but that will definitely eradicate pests fast. Another approach is neem oil. Be careful with the neem oil. Definitely spray your trees after the sun goes down, because that can cause some damage to the leaves. And it also is fairly slow to act. You know, it'll actually cause neurological issues in bugs where they don't know how to eat or fly, and they eventually die. But that's a longer process. And you could also affect some beneficial insects with that approach. So I go with DE. I guess theoretically you could affect beneficial bugs that way as well. But for a situation like this where you really want to eradicate the problem fast, that is the best way to go. Now, if you were a commercial grower, they would go with melathion, which is bad stuff. You don't want to spray that, especially on ripe fruit. Very harmful pesticide. So hopefully this helped you out. This was the first year that I've experienced this, and after following those tips, just cleaning things up, dusting on the DE, pretty much gotten rid of the issue. So hopefully that helps you if you've also come across that. Thanks for watching. Happy gardening.